Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and we're ready for our November the 30th lesson in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. Out of the original edition, lesson 334, Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. We want those gifts. All we got to do is just practice our forgiveness and we get the joy of living and clarity, wisdom. And let me go ahead. I will not wait another day to find the treasures which my Father offers me. Illusions must be in vain and dreams are gone, even while they are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perception. Illusions must be vain and dreams are gone, even while they are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perception. Let me not accept such meager gifts again today. God's voice is offering the peace of God to all who hear and choose to follow Him. This is my choice today, and so I go to find the treasures God has given me. And the prayer says, I seek but the eternal. I seek but the eternal. For your Son can be content with nothing less than this. What then can be His solace but what you are offering to His bewildered mind and frightened heart to give Him certainty and bring Him peace? Today I would behold my brother sinless. This your will for me, for thus will I behold my sinlessness. We're all in this together. You're going to have to see your brother sinless in order to see you as sinless. And we're going to learn a little bit in our text reading today, a little bit about blasphemy. And when you don't see yourself as God created you, that is blasphemy. So we're going to read about that in our text reading. So let's go there. Chapter, let me mark this so we can come back to it here in a minute. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. All right, and now in our text reading, we're ready for the next section 11 in chapter 9, the correction of error, and it's the denial of God. And as you're turning there, I want to mention to you, I wanted to clarify even a little bit more about the Bible and how that the Course in Miracles could be thought of as a continuation of the Bible or maybe to clarify terminologies used in the Bible is more the way I like to think of it. It's like we've awakened enough in the last 2,000 years, we're ready for more of the story, is how I like to think of it. But you don't need to read the Bible to understand A Course in Miracles. Matter of fact, if you don't feel any particular need to do so, don't make yourself feel like you need to study it. Follow God and make sure you spend those quiet times in the morning and in the evening and those hourly remembrances. And you'll be shown whether or not you need to study other books, the Bible being one of those. Okay, as you're turning there, a couple more radishes. And it's funny, I don't have any radishes. I was going to bring some out just so I could have some. I've got a couple squashes sitting out here still. Pusa Jamuni. This radish boasts an outstanding color, unlike any other radish. Lavender to dark purple, this brilliant color is consistent with the skin all the way to the center. It is the first full purple radish on the market. This is a large cylindrical winter radish that thrives in heat when other radishes will bolt or develop overly spicy flavor. Well, have you all had that? Grow some radishes in the summer and they get really, really hot? Well, he's saying that this one here's a good winter radish that's also slow to bolt and doesn't develop that hot flavor. This is another nutrient-dense variety that was naturally selected by Dr. Pitam Kalia in India. Okay, so a purple radish. And another one I thought was interesting, I may get. These are ones that I'm thinking I'm going to buy. I'm reading this to you out of the Baker's Creek seed catalog. And this is the Chinese red meat. This, or the colorful beauty heart radish of historic China, has 4-inch round roots with white and green skin, but the magic is in their rose red center, which is sweet, crisp, and delicious. A good radish to add color to salads and stir fries must be grown in cool weather and does best when fall planted. These taste incredible when harvested in the late fall or early winter, sweet and flavorful, almost like a crisp fruit. Sometimes called watermelon radish at market, among the most important vegetables in our kitchens each winter. It is a root that most kids love and packs an extra load of antioxidants in its sweet red flesh. So that's your Chinese red meat radish, also known as watermelon radish. Okay, so let's go take a look now in our Ready for the Denial of God in the text. The rituals of the god of sickness are strange and very demanding. Joy is never permitted, for depression is the sign of allegiance to him. So if you've got depression going on, well, that's the sign that you've misplaced your allegiance and put it on the ego, the god of sickness. Depression means that you have forsworn God. Men are afraid of blasphemy, but they do not know what it means. Well, we're going to learn a little bit more about it in this reading today and tomorrow. We won't get it all read today. You can go ahead and read ahead, though, and I encourage you to do so by all means. They do not realize that to deny God is to deny their own identity. And in this sense, the wages of sin is death. Quoting a passage out of Romans, isn't he? The sense is very literal. Denial of life perceives its opposite, as all forms of denial replace what is with what is not. Let's read that again. The sense, okay, so the wages of sin is death. They do not realize that to deny God is to deny their own identity, and in this sense, the wages of sin is death. When you deny God, you're denying your own identity, and in that sense, the wages of sin is death. And remember, to deny your brother's innocence and holiness and oneness with you and with God is a denial of God. They do not realize that to deny God is to deny their own identity, and in this sense, the wages of sin is death. The sense is very literal. Denial of life perceives its opposite, as all forms of denial replace what is with what is not. No one can really do this, but that you can think you can and believe you have is beyond dispute. Paragraph 9d4. Do not forget, however, that to deny God will inevitably result in projection. And you will believe that others, and not yourself, have done this to you. You will receive the message you give because it is the message you want. You may believe that you judge your brothers by the messages they give you, but you have judged them by the message you give to them. Do not attribute your denial of joy to them, or you cannot see the spark in them that could bring joy to you. Let's read that again. Do not attribute your denial of joy to them, no matter what they're doing. Don't say, well, they're causing me not to be joyful, because you can always be joyful. Doesn't matter what they're doing. But unless you don't want to believe that, and if you don't want to believe it, well, then you're not going to understand. Do not attribute your denial of joy to them, or you cannot see the spark in them that could bring joy to you. It is the denial of the spark that brings depression. And whenever you see your brothers without it, you are denying God. 95. Allegiance to the denial of God is the ego's religion. Allegiance to the denial of God is the ego's religion. Never thought about the ego having a religion, had we? The God of sickness, that's the ego, the God of sickness obviously demands the denial of health, because health is in direct opposition to its own survival. But consider what this means to you. Unless you are sick, you cannot keep the gods you made, for only in sickness could you possibly want them. Blasphemy, then, is self-destructive, not God-destructive. Blasphemy, then, is self-destructive, not God-destructive. It means that you are willing not to know yourself in order to be sick. This is the offering which your God demands, because having made him out of your insanity, he is an insane idea. He has many forms, but although he may seem like many different things, he is but one idea, the denial of God. 96. Sickness and death entered the mind of God's Son against his will. The attack on God made his Son think he was fatherless, and out of his depression he made the God of depression. This was his alternative to joy, because he would not accept the fact that although he was a creator, he had been created. Yet the Son is helpless without the Father, who alone is his help. We said before that of yourselves you can do nothing, but you are not of yourselves. If you were, what you have made would be true, and you could never escape. 97. It is because you did not make yourselves that you need be troubled by nothing. It is because you did not make yourselves that you need be troubled by nothing. Your gods are nothing because your Father did not create them. You cannot make creators who are unlike your Creator any more than he could have created a Son who is unlike him. If creation is sharing, it cannot create what is unlike itself. It can share only what it is. Depression is isolation, and so it could not have been created. 98. Son of God, you have not sinned, but you have been much mistaken. Yet this can be corrected, and God will help you, knowing that you could not sin against him. You denied him because you loved him, knowing that if you recognized your love for him, you could not deny him. Your denial of him, therefore, means that you love him and that you know he loves you. Remember that what you deny, you must have known. An important idea in that paragraph. Remember that what you deny, you must have known. And if you accept denial, you can accept its undoing. 99. Your Father has not denied you. He does not retaliate, but he does call to you to return. When you think he has not answered your call, you have not answered his. He calls to you from every part of the sonship because of his love for his Son. If you hear his message, he has answered you, and you will learn of him if you hear aright. The love of God is in everything he created, for his Son is everywhere. Look with peace upon your brothers, and God will come rushing into your heart in gratitude for your gifts to him. You know, that's probably a good stop. Well, let's go and read one more. Do not look to the God of sickness for healing, but only to the God of love. For healing is the acknowledgement of him. Do not look to the God of sickness for healing, but only to the God of love. For healing is the acknowledgement of him. When you acknowledge him, you will know that he has never ceased to acknowledge you, and that in his acknowledgement of you lies your being. You are not sick, and you cannot die. You are not sick, and you cannot die, despite what appearances might demonstrate. But you can confuse yourself with things that do. Remember, though, that to do this is blasphemy, for it means that you are looking without love on God and His creation, from which He cannot be separated. Only the eternal can be loved, for love does not die. What is of God is His forever, and you are of God. Would He allow Himself to suffer? And would He offer His Son anything that is not acceptable to Him? Okay, well, let's stop right there, and we'll be ready for our next reading. We'll start at text 101. We probably start at 100. All right, let's go back and look at our lesson today. Today, I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. Can you do that? Yesterday, remember, it was forgiveness ends the dream of conflict here. Well, that's quite a gift in and of itself. Well, today he just wants us to continue claiming that gift. Practice forgiveness and claim the gifts that forgiveness gives. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. What is the ego? The ego is idolatry, the sign of limited and separated self, born in a body, doomed to suffer and to end its life in death. It is the will that sees the will of God as enemy and takes a form in which it is denied. The ego is the, in quotes, proof that strength is weak and love is fearful. Life is really death, and what opposes God alone is true. The ego is insane. In fear, it stands beyond the everywhere, apart from all. In separation from the infinite. In its insanity, it thinks it has become a victor over God Himself. And in its terrible autonomy, it sees the will of God has been destroyed. It dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams. Its enemies who seek to murder it before it can ensure its safety by attacking them. The Son of God is egoless. The Son of God is egoless. You have to be egoless to be able to use that lesson where it says, in my defenselessness my safety lies. Because if you practice that lesson, you'll undo that last sentence in paragraph 2. Let me read it again. Speaking of the ego, it dreams of punishment and trembles at the figures in its dreams. Its enemies who seek to murder it before it can ensure its safety by attacking them. But we want to learn to ensure our safety by giving up defenses, by seeing the good, seeing God in everyone. In my defenselessness, my safety lies, is the Christ motto. Okay, paragraph 3. The Son of God is egoless. What can He know of madness and the death of God when He abides in Him? What can He know of sorrow and of suffering when He lives in eternal joy? What can He know of fear and punishment, of sin and guilt, of hatred and attack, when all there is surrounding Him is everlasting peace, forever conflict-free and undisturbed in deepest silence and tranquility? To know reality is not to see the ego and its thoughts, its works, its acts, its laws, and its beliefs, its dreams, its hopes, its plans for its salvation, and the cost belief in it entails. In suffering, the price for faith in it is so immense that crucifixion of the Son of God is offered daily at its darkened shrine, and blood must flow before the altar where its sickly followers prepare to die. Yet will one lily of forgiveness change the darkness into light, the altar to illusions, to the shrine of life itself. Whenever you're feeling any panic or if you feel yourself in any way deprived or foreboding or upset or discouraged or fearful or in any way unhappy, what we want to do? We want to be quick to use the eyes of Christ. And we want to say, well, it says here, yet will one lily of forgiveness change the darkness into light, the altar to illusions, to the shrine of life itself. We want to learn to practice, use those lilies of forgiveness to restore our happiness and peace. And peace will be restored forever to the holy minds which God created as His Son, His dwelling place, His joy, His love, completely His, completely one with Him. All right. Okay, and let's once again look at today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. I will not wait another day to find the treasures which my Father offers me. Illusions must be vain, and dreams are gone, even while they are woven out of thoughts that rest on false perception. Let me not accept such meager gifts again today. God's voice is offering the peace of God to all who hear and choose to follow Him. This is my choice today, and so I go to find the treasures God has given me. And so I go to find the treasures God has given me. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. And the prayer says, I seek but the eternal. For your Son can be content with nothing less than this. What then can be His solace but what you are offering to His bewildered mind and frightened heart to give Him certainty and bring Him peace? Today I would behold my brother sinless. This your will for me, for this will I behold my sin. For thus will I behold my sinlessness. Let me read that again. Today I would behold my brother sinless. This your will for me, for thus will I behold my sinlessness. So let's see our brother's sinlessness. And thus will I behold my sinlessness. Today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives.